Hi people, notes 4.2b are on graphing lines using intercepts. And I want to show you a few things on Desmos really quickly. So with intercepts, there are two different types of intercepts that we will be looking at. There's the x-intercept and the y-intercept. And if you see here, for the x-intercept, the coordinate is -2, 0, and the y value here is 0. So for the x-intercept, the y value is 0 because on the x-axis, y is 0. For the y-intercept, the x value is 0. Okay, let's take a look at another example. So here we have our x-intercept here, and if you see the y value is 0, here we have a y-intercept, here the x value is 0. So no matter where your intercepts are, the x-intercept always has a value of 0 for y, and the y-intercept always has a value of 0 for the x. So I'd like you to write this piece of information down right here. So for x-intercepts, we know that y is 0, and for y-intercepts, we know that x equals 0. So it says right here, graph 2x plus 3y equals 12 using the intercepts. So let's first find our x-intercept. So this is another way to do it besides just using slope-intercept form. So the general equation was 2x plus 3y equals 12, and an x-intercept will happen when y is 0. So I'm going to replace 0 for y, and then I'm going to keep everything exactly the same. So here I'm going to put the 0 in for y. So this is 3 times 0 because this is multiplication. And 3 times 0 is 0. So I end up getting 2x plus 0 is equal to 12. But 2x plus 0 is just 2x. So I can divide both sides by 2 and I get x equals 6. So one of my intercepts would be 6, 0. I have to put 0 in for that y value, okay? Now let's talk about how to find the y-intercept. So the y-intercept will happen when x is 0. So I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to copy down the equation exactly how I see it, but now this time when I see x, I'm going to replace it with 0. So this is 2 times 0, and 2 times 0 is 0. And then I'm going to copy everything else down exactly how I see it. And then 0 plus 3y is just going to give me 3y. These combine together to give us 3y because 0 plus anything is that number. And then divide both sides by 3, and I end up getting y equals 4. So that means that my other intercept, my y-intercept, will be 0, 4. So how do I graph this out? First thing I have to do is number and label my axes. So I'm going to put a 0 here, and then I'm just going to go by 2's. So 2, 4, 6, 8, -2, -4, -6, -8. And technically, even though I'm only labeling every other one, I know I said I'm going by 2's. I'm actually going by 1's. I apologize for that. But I'm only labeling every other block. Okay, 2, 4, 6. And then here we have two negative values here. So now I can take my x-intercept that we got, which was 6, 0, and I can go to that point. It crosses the x-axis at 6. And then I can take my y-intercept, which is 0, 4, and I can put that point right here. And then I can just connect those dots. And this is the line 2x plus 3y equals 12. On the next page, I'm going to do the exact same thing. So I'm going to graph y equals -3x plus 8 using intercepts. So the first intercept that we're going to look at is our x-intercept. And again, our x-intercept will happen when y is 0. So I'm going to write down the equation, and I'm going to replace this y with 0. So I'm going to say 0 equals -3x plus 8. Then I'm going to add the 3x to both sides to get the variables on one side, constants on the other. I get 3x equals 8. Divide both sides by 3, and I get x equals 8/3. I can't divide 8 by 3 evenly, and I can't reduce it, so I will say that this is 8/3 and 0, 8/3, 0. Now let's find our y-intercept, and our y-intercept will happen when x equals 0. So here I'm going to write down my equation, and I'm going to replace this x with a 0. So y equals negative 3 times 0 plus 8. Negative 3 times 0 is 0, and 0 plus 8 is going to give me 8. So that means that my y-intercept is 0, 8. But we should have already known that our y-intercept would be 8, because right here, this is the b value, and the b value is always going to tell us our y-intercept. So I technically didn't have to do any work. And this is true no matter what, if it's in y equals mx plus b format, because when I plug 0 in for x, m times 0 is just 0, so I end up getting y equals b, and that's why this works right here. So let's go ahead and do our graph. So I'm going to number and label my axes, x, y, and right here, this is 0. I'm going to make this 2, 4, 6, 8, 2, 4, 6. We'll put 8 up here. I know it doesn't fully fit, but we'll just do our best with what we have here. And I will go ahead and graph out these points right here. Now, this one is a little bit more complicated, so we'll do this one first. So 0, 8 is all the way up here. And then 8/3, I need to know exactly how much 8/3 is. So I have two options. I can make this a mixed fraction. So I can see 3 goes into 8 2 times, and then 2 times 3 is 6, so there's 2 left over. So it's 2 2/3. So I can go between 2 and 3, and I'll go 2/3 of the way between 2 and 3. Or you could just divide 8 by 3, and you will get 2.6 repeating, which means that it would be approximately here as well. Go ahead and connect your two dots, your 2 points right here. Write your equation on the line, and you are good to go. Now, sometimes it'll be easier to use your two intercepts, and sometimes it'll be easier to use the slope-intercept form. So if you notice here, it starts at 8, and then the slope is 3 over 1. So that means you're going to go down 3 and over 1, down 3 and over 1. So if you notice here, our line is doing that. So we can just use the slope formula if you prefer. All right, that's it for this video. Let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, I'll just see you in class. Bye.